Hey everyone, welcome back to This Old TJ. As the thumbnail implied, I found a hidden feature after I bought my old TJ I'm running here. And this was actually pointed out to me by my daughter. She had discovered this while we were out doing one of her instructional drives. She said, "Dad, what's the screw for?" And I asked, "What screw?" from the passenger side. When we switched spots, she pointed this out. And I'm like, well, that's certainly interesting. I didn't put it there. So, wanting to find out what happened, just went ahead and pop it out. And this is exactly what happens. Hazards come on, and there's no stopping it. Well, I say that, but now it does. But it doesn't take much. Just a light bump on that thing. And now you can see where the detent on it does not work. So that explained the screw. So the fix, other than putting the screw back in for temporary purposes, is going to be to swap out the entire multifunction switch because it is all incorporated as one piece. And furthermore, last night while driving my son back to his college for the week, I did a lane change signal, which is pretty straightforward. Pull the multifunction switch down, right? And when I released it, the brights flashed and then I lost all headlights on the interstate. Fortunately, it was in a well-lit section. I do have one cheap set of auxiliary lights on here, so pretty quick to reach down, hit the switch, grab those, turn the auxiliary lights on, and then a couple minutes of playing around with the multifunction switch, I was able to get the headlights back on. But that's it. They're coming out today and getting replaced, and hopefully that takes care of it. After that, I'm pulling the LED lights out that are in here and putting in the ones I had in my last TJ. So let's get started on this and see how it turns out. All right, got some lights set up. I've got one long Phillips head screwdriver, one pick. In the past, this has been about all the kind of tool I would need for this kind of job. After probing a bit, it feels like there's 4 screw holes, but I want to say only the front 2 here are actually going to be the actual screws. So we'll pull these out. So screw number 1. Screw number 2. I shouldn't forget screw number 3, the one that is on top holding the hazards from turning on. Now that it's removed, you can in fact hear the hazards back on. And the screw I just pulled out, if you look, definitely not a factory screw. So I get the feeling this has either been placed once before, or somebody's been in here for something. Now the covers themselves just slip in and out, really straightforward. You can see on the cover here, there actually is just the 2 screw boses. My thumb's on this side, then there's one on the other side. Everything else just kind of locks in place together. It's got the little locating tab, lock tabs there. And it looks like to remove the actual switch assembly itself will require some Torx bits. But for the time being, I am going to see if there's a way to get this thing to stop flashing while I'm actually grabbing those. It looks like there's one big main plug on the rear. It is easier to get to with the tilt lever down. And it's looking like I may have to actually pull the switch assembly off before I can even get to the plug to get a good grip on it to pull this thing apart. Other things I can do though to kind of confirm this is to go ahead and pull out the replacement part, which I'll put the part number here on the screen. All right, so looking at the replacement part, it appears I'm trying to push down on the tab that latches here. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not, but instead of pushing down, it looks like I probably need to actually lift up a hair. So this may make things a little simpler, but I may want a different pick to do this with too. Oh, found the problem. There's actually a little locking tab on here, so there we go. So I did use the pick. I did use the pick to reach down, and it's got this little tab, which I used the pick to pull that towards the front of the Jeep, unlocks it, press down, then it snaps out. So I will grab the Torx bits we need, and then you can see we've got the two locating screws. We'll pull those, reverse this, and be back in business. And on my particular Jeep, which is a 2005, it is a T20. And these appear to possibly be like an actual fine thread screw that goes in this aluminum backing plate. And yes, they are. All right, next piece to sort out is how exactly I get the turn signal stock off. So it looks like once again I'm going to need my pick to release another one of those little red clips on the back of the other side. Then it slides out. So if you look at the back of the switch, front side, rear side, and you can see on the rear side underneath where there's a little locating pins that appear to let this thing just slip into place. And on the front side of that, there are two small screws that are also Torx that lock the assembly together. And fortunately, I should say, it looks like I do have a Torx bit that fits that tiny little screw. And this will be a T10. So I got the T10 Torx to go in to pull these apart. And they are just in there finger tight. It's basically just a big coarse screw, tap itself as it goes in kind of screw. And apart it comes. So now we have turn signal and the remainder of the multifunction switch. So I'll get the other one back together here. And going back together is just reverse order on everything. There. Tiny little screw again. And again, on this one, at least it's just finger tight, so not a huge amount of pressure required. So it just locks the two together. So that's easily reassembled. So next I will lock the tilt column back down into the low position. See if I can get my switches plugged back in. Definitely went back together simply. So we'll check all the switches on here before. All right, light switch works. Fog light switch works. The bright dimmer switch is much better than it was on the old switch, and best of all, I guess I shouldn't be so quick to say that. It looks like I may have a non-functional hazard switch on a brand new switch. All right. This is why it's good to test everything before you get it all put back together. All right, wipers work. And turn signals do not. This is literally, again, a brand new, right out of the box multifunction switch. So, ever get frustrated working on cars, on vehicles in general? So, having gone through this, guess which step I would not have already done before testing. Joining the two back together. So, with this, I will grab my T10 bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull these back apart. I'm going to put the switch I was actually replacing back in here and call the parts store, see what the chances are they have one of these at their store tonight. And if they do not have one, I will order it up and get it on the way here for tomorrow. All right, everyone, back from the parts store. And, you know, they exchanged it, no problems. So I got a brand new one in the bag, right? Here's the bag. Here's the back of the bag. Nothing extra in the bag. So, I'll do what I did the last time, which I will admit that always being in a hurry in life, it seems like, to get from one thing to the next, because there's never a shortage of things that need to be done. I grabbed the other one out, and I reassembled it just the way the other one had come apart, right? So return the screws. This is the T10 that holds the wiper assembly in place. And at this point I had, set the other one aside, and since here in the Pacific Northwest it starts getting dark really early, if you're not able to get in your shop, which I'm not at the moment, or if you don't have a shop and you're working by, whatever lighting you have, you miss little things. So what I had missed in the other box, because it's not in the bag with the switch, it's just loose in the box, and in this box it was tucked in real tight down in the folds. I caught a glimpse of it and pulled it out, but what it said was, make sure that you don't forget to take your old assembly and pull the flasher relay off, because on these switches it is actually put in on the back of the switch itself. So this is totally my bad, and like I say, it's a matter of trying to rush to get too many things done too quickly. Little things can get overlooked. So I guess the moral of the story is, take the time to really examine things closely, and I guess try not to live in a rush. But so anyway, new switch, reassembled with the flasher plugged in. So we'll put it back on here and give things a test. And also, just a note, to get this to seat down on here, if you actually work your turn signals while you're pushing down slightly, it will go down and engage really smooth. You can hear that now already. I've got the flashers back, flashers off, flashers on, flashers off. Headlights work, brights work. Fog lamp switch works. I have to put the keys in to test wipers and the actual turn signals. Left turn signal, right turn signal, all appear to work. Can't really test the self-canceling till I'm out driving it. But for now, yeah, rushing to get things done as quickly as possible. Overlook the one little step. Cost me an extra 15 minutes and returning a part that really didn't need to be returned. But anyway, so get this back together. And I did drop one of the screws, so dig that back out from the bottom. It's always fun when they don't want to line up. There we go. That's why we start these little fine thread ones, especially when it appears to be into aluminum, by finger. And these are the T20 bits on these. So they're just going to get until snugged, and then maybe an extra 10 degrees of turn. Now to place the cover back on, the other thing I guess to be aware of is you do have this little plug that goes or sets into place in the switch. So appears to set roughly like so. So that is also on the one you'll take off, so don't, I guess in your rush, toss that out. All right. So with both of those back in place, get the wheel back down. And it looks like maybe the way this thing sets in is more of a side angle. I'm going to try and get it going here so it looks decent and looks like it fits. And that way seems pretty solid. That's with the more squared up side up. So I'll do the same thing on the blinker side. Do the same thing on the wiper side. This piece almost looks like it's meant to have one of those spring lock clips that would slip over this and then press into something and latch in place. But I'm not, it definitely didn't have one when I took it off. Let's put it that way. So we'll press this up over. Probably fairly important to get it lined up with the key assembly. Oh, and I have noticed something. Let's probably make this simpler. If you look on the back of these, two sets that slip in, one set that locks in, so it appears that this actually goes on the outside of the shell instead of the inside, which that sure does make it fit on here a lot simpler and a lot easier, and everything lines up. So one moment, I'll grab the screws, get it back together, and it should be good to go. Alright, one screw left to go. We'll try and make sure I get the one that came out of this instead of the one that was wedged into the old assembly to keep the flashers from going. Then it will be a matter of getting our cover plate back on here. Looking at the angle of the plastic, I think that was on backwards. I'll try it this direction. Yes, there we go, fits perfectly. So the rounded edge goes at the rear. Same thing for the passenger side. Dome lights work. everything else works, I think we are set. So that wraps it up. Once again, don't get in a hurry. The flasher will come off the back of your old switch. You can see the spot, the big square plug right here. And if you don't have a lot of light and you're doing it in the winter months, you're probably going to want more light than I have. I know from the bottom the light's great, but from the top, having that blinding light down there for filming for you guys makes it a little harder to see up top, but still not overly bad. So with that, I will wrap this one up. Say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please reach down there and hit that like button and hit the subscribe if you want to see more, because there's plenty more to come. Thanks again. Bye.